Hey guys, so I am so excited today to talk about the top 5 tips I have for you entering med school. When I started med school in 2019, there are so many pieces of advice that I was given, but ultimately, if I could boil down everything into the 5 points I wish I knew, I'm going to share them with all you guys today. So I hope you enjoy them, and if you do, like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have any further questions, because I'll be so happy to answer them in future videos. So let's dive in. My very first tip is that the social aspect of med school is a lot more important than the studying piece. Think about it. When you go to med school, you're gonna meet 100 to 200 new people. And this might be one of the last times in your life that you ever get that opportunity. Med school is a lot like high school in the sense that there's people who love sports, there's people who love music, art, whatever your area of interest is, you'll have an opportunity to find your people in med school. And here's the thing. A lot of what you learn in pre-clerkship doesn't always translate to the clerkship and residency aspects. So I would say that those first 1 to 2 years of med school that you spend in pre-clerkship are a prime opportunity to get to know the people in your class and build lasting relationships. Reason being that the number one ingredient in any friendship is time. So if you invest that time early on, when the studying is a little bit less important than it is during clerkship, you'll find that the relationships you build are so strong and will help you thrive actually during clerkship as well. My second tip is to not get lost in the minutia of medicine. You'll find that from your lectures, textbooks, and online resources, there are so many places to find knowledge when you're studying. My number one tip is to take the first couple weeks of med school, decide what resource works best for you, and stick with that one throughout the entire process. Because it's really easy to get overwhelmed with osmosis online, stat pearls, up-to-date textbooks, and everything else that's out there. For me, what worked really well was Stat Pearls. It's this online website that has pretty much everything you need to know about each medical topic, but it's pretty brief and you can get through a topic in maybe 20 minutes. I love it because it was brief, it was informative, and it was easy to read for me. But a lot of my friends used Osmosis as well, which is a subscription online video platform. If you're a more visual learner, that might be a better fit for you. But ultimately, I recommend finding what works for you and sticking with one resource throughout the process, because you'll save time, be able to delve deeper into that one resource, and ultimately just make studying a better experience for you. My next tip is super important, and it's to make sure that you take care of your mental health throughout medical school. Med school can get very stressful, from long hours to exams to taking care of people's lives. So it's really important that the first thing you do is take care of yourself. Whether that's through investing time in hobbies, seeking out a therapist or a counselor, or just speaking to your friends about the challenges that you're facing, it's so important that you find ways to take care of your mental health during med school. Something specific I wanted to talk about related to mental health is something called imposter syndrome, or feeling like we don't belong. Pretty much every medical student faces this in some way, shape, or form. And I think a lot of us feel that imposter syndrome comes from comparing ourselves to others. But I really think that imposter syndrome comes from having an impossible vision for ourselves that we can never actually achieve. So my biggest tip to get over imposter syndrome is to just be a little bit easier on yourself. And I promise that you'll feel more like you belong. My second tip is to count victories, not only losses. A lot of us have a bucket list for life or things we want to achieve, but I think it's so key to also reflect on things we already have achieved. So if you look back, you got the grades you needed to in undergrad and you got into medical school. You have a good group of friends, you have hobbies. If you think about all the things that you've achieved, I promise it'll help with imposter syndrome. Finally, my last tip to get over imposter syndrome is to talk to your friends about it, because I guarantee that all of them are going through it in some way, shape, or form. So I know it's hard to be vulnerable, but try your best to talk with them. My next tip for starting med school is to make sure that you explore different specialties from the beginning. I think a lot of people go into med school having a pretty solid idea of what they might be interested in, but I can tell you from experience that that can change completely over the course of med school. So what are some ways that you can explore? The first during pre-clerkship is to do shadowing. And I know it can be difficult and competitive to get shadowing, but what I would recommend is just to send off emails to doctors that you might be interested in working with, and you never know what could happen. It's a great opportunity to get some low-risk exposure to different specialties and have an idea of what you might be interested in. When you're shadowing, I think it's really important to not just be a sort of passive bystander, but to also ask questions about what their lifestyle is like, what their salary is like, and what gives them fulfillment throughout their work. Because these are the types of questions you don't really see from just watching when you're shadowing. So I think it's really important to also have that in-depth discussion with the doctors that you're working with. Then, during clerkship, make sure that you explore during your electives. Try different things and explore different specialties because you might be surprised at what you find. I also wanted to add that if you want to explore specialties a little bit more in a different way, you can also try doing research in them. I know research isn't for everyone, but if you feel that it's something you're interested in, try again sending off emails to different doctors in different specialties, see if they have any projects you might be interested in, and it's a great way to connect with them, build your resume, and also see if it's a specialty you might be interested in. My last tip is something that I really do hope you take to heart, and it's to both show appreciation for the people who helped you get into med school and also pay it forward. When you think about getting into med school, it really does take a village. Most often it requires support from parents, from friends, reference letters, people to review your application, and then in addition there's advice from other medical students and residents. So take 5 minutes, write a heartfelt thank you card to them, and I promise that it'll go a really long way in showing how much you appreciate them. And then the second half of that coin is paying it forward. When other people come to you for advice, do your best to help them. Try reviewing their applications, giving them interview advice, whatever you feel that you're strong at, do your best to help other future med students with that. And I promise that it's gonna be really fulfilling when you have an opportunity to pay it forward. I hope these 5 tips for starting med school really help you guys out. Med school is such an exciting time in your life. It's a great opportunity to make friends, see what your future career is going to look like, and also you have now the skills and the opportunity to pay it forward to people who are going to need you in the future. So if you like this video, like and subscribe, comment down below any questions you have about medicine. I can't wait to connect more with you guys. Take care.